Luxon saying we have no intention to means that people who are going to do submissions still think they're going to possibly get their stuff through. If Luxon could finish this tomorrow, I mean, I think I've heard reporters challenging him to rule it out now. And he just goes, we've been very clear. We have no intention. It's not clear, you fucking idiot. It's not clear. We're telling you it's not clear. You need to be unambiguous and clear by saying no National Party MP will vote for it after the first reading. That's what I need to hear. Now, in saying all of this, no National Party MP may vote for it. That may be the case, but he's not saying it. And it's a bit like talking earlier about what was the minutiae behind why he read that speech again. Why in the background is he not saying it? Is it because he's just trying to like give those people who give him their vote some kind of hope, which they're going to dash anyway? Because I've said this before. If there's going to be egg on somebody's face, right? There's going to be anger in somebody's quarter. If it goes through, it's those people who are protesting in Dunedin and Cuba Street at Waitangi who are going to be the ones who are angry if it goes through. If it doesn't go through, all these people who are voting for ACT and New Zealand First in particular, and the ones for National that still have their hopes up because he's using phrasing like we have no intention to, they're going to be angry. And then they still say this won't divide the country. This will absolutely divide the country. Either the people who don't get it are going to be pissed, or if you get it, the people who don't want it are going to be pissed. And this is thanks to David Seymour, which is probably a good time to move into Q&A from this morning.
Oh.
Sorry, let's take a breath. This first clip is very short. It's only 33 seconds. I wanted to play it for a particular reason, because so often Seymour does this, but probably, if I'm fair, all politicians do it. They use anecdotal evidence and people are telling me to back up why they're doing massive things. This is only 33 seconds. I want you to hear what he describes when he's talking about what people are talking to him about, or what's happening to people. And the reality is, yeah, okay, that might happen to one or two, but that's anecdotal, and that doesn't mean that's actually what's happening. Have a listen.
In a practical sense, it means that who gets consulted on resource consents. It sometimes means who gets jobs, and you'll see people who will say, in my workplace, I feel that people are being promoted.
You see people who will say, in my workplace, I feel. Now that just that by itself, in my workplace, I feel. He's using that as evidence for his position on the referendum, because people say, in my workplace, I feel. What do they feel, Mr. Seymour?
Who gets jobs, and you'll see people who will say, in my workplace, I feel that people are being promoted because there's an objective of having this many Māori or this relationship with the...
I feel that brown person has got a position above me because they're brown. I feel that. Now, that's either true or it's false, but it's not based in evidence. It's a feeling, it's a conjecture, and it's something that often people who probably would never get promoted look for an excuse to blame why the brown person got promoted above them. I feel, I think, people are. This looks like the way it's it. This has just got 19 seconds to go. I won't interrupt it again.
Honour the principles of the treaty. These are real problems that people are seeing in their everyday life.
That's what he's referencing, the I feel. The I feel are real problems. So he's just gone from this sort of anecdotally sort of story that someone's talked to him, and now he's going, these are real problems, like everyone's getting this.
And I think we have to decide, do we want to be a country that has equal mana for all citizens, or do we want to become a bit of a constitutional oddity where there's a two-track citizenship arrangement?
Right. So, Chewy, that's just the first little 30-seconder. The second part's going to be a bit longer. Do you want to say anything before we get into the second part?
I want to meet this person that thinks they're getting passed over for promotion because someone's brown. I want to see, who is this person? Where did you speak to him?
Yeah.
What absolute nonsense. It's too many chicks that should be in the typing pool instead of management positions, and they're only getting promoted because blah, 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 blah. David Seymour and his anecdotes. There's always an anecdote. He's always spoken to someone.
It's Trumpian.
That is putting words to this fear that so many ordinary, everyday New Zealanders, by which I mean white New Zealanders,
Yeah.
are afraid of. Just when you
Yeah.
see the pattern, you see it every time he talks.
Yep, I feel some people, what if one person does? Someone told me that. I spoke to someone who, all this kind of stuff. Second part of this interview that we want to play out. Now, we've talked about this a lot here. The idea about the treaty being an agreement between two parties, right? Iwi and the Crown. I've always said the way I think about it in an incredibly oversimplified ways, it's a bit like a contract. You know, there's a Party A and Party B, they come to an agreement and they're the signatories to the agreement, the treaty, the contract, the whatever you will. And we've been saying this for a long time. You can't invite in a third party to your agreement. And the example I gave, which is probably oversimplified, is my contract or my agreement with my bank on my mortgage. If someone moves in next door, they all of a sudden can't say to my bank, well, I want to reset terms for Pat. It doesn't matter if he's not a part of this. It's like the two signatories have to get together and nut out to reignite or remake or redraw up the agreement. And we've been saying this for such a long time. And I'm not going to play a lot of the conversation from this morning, but Jack Tame spent about 3 minutes talking to Mr. Seymour about the agreement between two parties. And then he went to an example using the term contract. And this is the bit that I talked about earlier, where Seymour just nothing. He will not change. This is a perfectly logical equation that Jack Tame puts out there. And he just goes, nah, because. And this is the man who also talks about property rights. If it was an agreement between two parties on a property, you damn straight that ACT wouldn't put up with a third partner coming in to decide. You know what I'm saying? But because it's in his wheelhouse, and he wants to take away any help given to Māori. That's what it comes down to. He's happy for help to be given to other protected classes, but he doesn't want help given to Māori, and that's actually what it's about. Now, whether that's a genuine belief of his, Chewy, or whether that's actually fake and he's a grifter and he doesn't really believe that, but he's found his niche to get power, I actually don't know. But that's what he's talking about. So we'll play this bit from Jack Tame. I don't know how long we'll stick with it, but we'll have a bit of a listen to him talking about this like it's a contract.
Justice Minister Paul Goldsmith has previously supported an interpretation of the treaty as a contract. Can one party in a contract decide to reinterpret it without the consent of another signatory?
Well, sometimes you've got to go to someone else and ask, what does this contract mean for us today?
No, you don't. You don't. Okay, so I take my contract with my bank. I take it to someone and goes, what does this mean? Shall I involve you to... No, you don't. The contract's between two parties. You don't get a third party to then tell the two parties, or one of the two parties, what it fucking means.
In fact, all contractual interpretations are usually arbitrated by a third party. In that case, I think it should be the highest court in the land, the Parliament elected by the New Zealand people.
But in terms of population, non-Māori, represented in effect by the Crown, vastly outnumber Māori. In order for a truly democratic interpretation of the principles to pass into law, wouldn't any referendum require the support of the Crown and separately the consensus of iwi representing the signatories to the treaty?
Well, that's your view, but of course you assume in saying that that
you
the treaty is a
twat.
partnership that gave people different rights and different mana based on their ancestry.
See, and this is the thing where I say he just will not. That's a really clear... I wonder if Jack's been watching, Chewy. We've got all these mainstream media picking up on the stuff that they're seeing on the internet, because that's what we've been saying for months. You've got two signatories. Those are the only two signatories that have any say in this agreement. And you'll have heard me say this before. To say to my racist Uncle Bob and Nelson, would you like to put your input in on this agreement? It's not how contracts work. It's not how agreements work. You don't do it that way. The two signatories come together if there's going to be a change. And at the moment, one signatory is saying we need to change this, and the other signatory is they're either going no, or they're going, well, not until we sort a few things out, sunshine. Are we going to think about changing this or reordering this?
That the treaty is a partnership that gave people different rights and different mana based on their ancestry. I just reject that premise. Now,
But it was an agreement signed by
It's a
two
shit premise.
distinct signatories
Wrong.
or two distinct parties.
Yes.
And if you're saying that one party gets to effectively veto what it means forever and a day, then you've already bought into the premise that there should be different sets of political
But isn't
rights
that
for
what you're
different New
saying?
Zealanders.
You're saying that one party can do that.
No, I reject it. I reject the notion.
Yes, Jack Tame, one party is doing exactly that. It's the party that's not iwi is doing exactly that. And unfortunately, Mr. Seymour rejects that premise.
Isn't
rights
that
for
what you're
different New
saying?
Zealanders.
You're saying that one party can do that.
No, I reject it. I reject the notion you have that in order to have a discussion about the treaty, one side always has a veto. What I'm saying is that sometimes you've got to get an agreement arbitrated, and in my view, it is the role of New Zealand Parliament in a democratic society to uphold the universal rights of all New Zealanders.
So he's right in one thing, but he's missing a big part. If a contract needs to be renegotiated, you can involve a third party, yeah? But you can't do that based on one signatory's desire. If you're in a workplace and you have an agreement with your workplace and you get to the end of your agreement and you have to renegotiate it, you can get a third party in. You can't get a third party in if only the employee goes, yeah, we're going to renegotiate this contract, here's my third party. Even if you're in a union, it's a union member. Still, all the two parties have to agree to allowing the third party in, the arbitrator in. And that's not what's happening. It's basically saying, if you've got that employee-employer relationship, it's the employer saying, well, actually, what you want, employee, is going to be decided by this third party. It's not how contracts work. It's just not. And this is what I'm saying to you. I don't know if you've heard it any more clearly. He will not budge. He won't budge. No matter what's put in front of him now, he will not budge.
He is very clear in the fact that what his end goal is, what he prefers is you know, and I hate that he does this. I hate that he co-opts the language of other struggles. He's talking about one person, one vote. He has talked about apartheid in the past. And if this goes down to one person, one vote, and Māori are 19% of the country, they're going to get fucked on. And we have seen this play out.
But can I
We've
ask a
seen
question?
this play out with the voice referendum in Australia.
My
And
question
that's
is,
what he wants there, because he's backed by the same group.
my question is this: who does he think has two votes? Like, even if we take a step back and go, seeing it from he's saying, if he says one person, one vote, who doesn't have that now? Who doesn't have one vote now? Is there some cabal I don't know that are getting 4 votes in the ballot box that I haven't heard about?